Okay, and now we're going to work on displaying the data in a table. First things first, let's get rid of the red text and start our shell. Okay, and then we're going to run Flask. There we go. Okay, and I believe I already have it up. Yes, I do. Here we go. And what do we need first? We need to make a table, right? So we're going to do a table, not a whatever that was. We're going to do a row of headers, so TH is inside. We need the ID, the name, the age, and the breed. So ID, name, I'm going to say dog name just so it's age, and breed. Okay? Now we should probably do some Jinja syntax, which is done in curly braces. We're going to do a for loop inside of the HTML file. So we need curly braces and 2% symbols. We're going to say for dog in dogs. I don't actually have these variables sent in yet, but I plan on sending over a list called dogs, and then dog will be whatever current index it's at of the dogs list. So we're going to want a table row, so a row per dog. Inside, we're going to have the same amount of data as headers, so 4 of them. Actually, I'm going to do the Jinja syntax inside like this, and then copy it from there just so it's a little easier to work with. So we're going to want to access the individual dog, and then the dictionary key in question, in this case ID. And we're going to want to rinse and repeat for each one. This is dname, dog, age, and then dog breed. I don't know why I keep forgetting that. Let's just double confirm that. We copied them up here. We have ID, dname, breed, and age. It looks like I swapped those, but I don't think that's a big deal. That's how we have it up here, and it's the same order. I'm happy with that. Now we need to end the for loop. So in Jinja syntax, same thing, 2% signs. All we do is one word, and for. That stops the for loop so that it knows that this can stop after. This is the end of the for loop. This is everything that is executed inside the for loop is what it's essentially the purpose of this end statement. So we should see a header that is hard-coded. And for each dog in dogs, it will create a new row with the data of that particular dog. Now we need to send dogs in, because if I were to refresh, we would just get the headers and nothing inside. I mean, there's stuff inside, but it's blank. There's nothing in it. It's probably a single row. So we need to rewrite this because we're not trying to get one anymore. Now we're in the root route. So every time this page loads, and the root route being just the domain name, in this case a local IP because we don't have a domain name, this is the same thing as this. Or not that, sorry. It's the same as this, okay, what we're looking at, because it's the home, it's the root, right? So when the root loads, we want to assign a variable called dogs, because that's what we want it to be named, to dog.getAll, right? Because if we remember in our getAll, it returns a list of class or of dog class objects from the database with this particular variables assigned to them, and we want to use those here. So we got to send it in. So after we've assigned it to dogs, inside the render template as a second argument, we want to say dogs, which is actually the name of the variable that's going to be going into HTML, equals the dogs that we have here. So the one on the right is the one we have in the Python file. The one on the left is the one that we refer to in here. However, naming them the same helps with the confusion issue on that. So I refreshed. Theoretically, when I hit refresh, we should see all the dogs in our database. And we do. We see Biscuit, George, and Cupcake exactly as we defined them. Now, let's make this table a little less gross, just a little tiny bit of CSS. I don't want to go too crazy with it, just enough to keep it from being gross. So I'm going to give the table an ID. It's going to be called, I don't know, main table. How about that? So in the main table, in here, it's an ID, so we're going to use a pound symbol, hash symbol, whatever you want to call it. Now, the first thing I'm going to want to do is give it a border. So border of 2 pixel solid black. If you're not familiar with border, this is a shorthand for all the other ones. It starts with the width of the border, the type of border, and then the color. So you can shorthand it by doing that. So if I refresh, we should get a border around it, and we do. Now, if I want borders in between, I'd have to do that on the rows. So if I go inside of this main table and say I want to affect all the rows in it, we can try the same border command and see what it looks like. So it didn't change, which means that the table data might be what we want. So let's try that. We're going to add TD at the end of it. That looks like it kind of worked, but not really. So maybe what we should do is, instead of bordering the entire thing, we should just put borders on the top of the data. That way it's only along the top. That sounds like a better idea. So let's do border top. Just like that. And it takes the same parameters. That is better. However, we are having issues with these lines, or these empty spaces, I should say, in between. The way that you solve that is in the main table, you do border, collapse, and then the value of collapse. It should, there we go. It combines everything. So there we go. Now the only thing left to do is inside of the table data, and we can probably copy this. So the table data and also the THs, so the headers as well, we're going to want to give it some padding. So maybe 10 pixels, just so there's some spacing here. There we go. Got a little spacing going on. And maybe a little too much. Let's try 5. There we go. Now, this is going to be much smaller on your screen. This is the normal screen size. I'm zooming in because I don't really want to mess with font sizes right now. But this is good enough to read. I don't plan on making this any crazier. The only thing left maybe I could do is text align. So text align center on the main... Oh, not here. Not here. I did it in the wrong spot. In the main one... Oops. In the main table, everything should center. There we go, just so it's a little easier to read. That works for me. So we've successfully set up a display of all the dogs.